Hey, so my phone automatically counts down when I'm going to do a video. I did not know that till I was just sitting out here waiting, thinking about what I was going to say, and, I just see the 3, 2, 1. Anyway, just a little bit of a funny story there to start things off. I was honestly debating if I really wanted to do one of these today or not, because it's been a long week, and I think I can tie some of this together and make it make sense, although I'm not really going to do a whole lot of apologetical stuff today, just maybe a little, but I just want to get some thoughts out there. So I usually start off, lately and talk about treatment, and how things are going with that. So I think we're going to start off with Tuesdays, because that's usually when I go in to get the treatment. And, I'm on my way in, and I'm playing on my phone a little. And I see email that somebody I know through a treat program, that I serve on, that I'll be serving on coming up in about a month. But I've known this person through that for the past couple of years, passed away. And he was 79, so wasn't too big of a deal. It's kind of expected, when people get to be that age. But it just hit me, just struck me. And I guess sometimes it always strikes me. Some of y'all know, my story, and I've seen, I think, my fair share of people passing. And I've seen my fair share of grief. And, when something like that happens, it kind of stirs up some, emotions and feelings. So I go to treatment, and I usually try to do something nice, for myself, because treatment usually takes a lot out of me, and I try to reward myself and go do something, enjoyable afterwards. 9 times out of 10, it's having a good meal, because I do like to eat, And as I'm having this meal, at my favorite restaurant, one of my favorite restaurants, in fact, bonus points if you can tell me where I was at Tuesday night. It's one of 2 places, that are here locally. But as I was having dinner, I was about ready to, pay my tab and check out. I'm scrolling Facebook, and I see another loss, of somebody. And I'm not going to really get into that whole story, because I really don't feel it's my story to get into. Because that hit me, really hard. We're talking about finding out about 2 losses within 12 hours of one another. So that stung, and that stung big time, and yeah. I'm sitting up at, like I said, a restaurant and bar, and after I got the news, I was like, a drink sounds really good. But then I'm like, wait, no, I'm coming up on just shy of 2 years sober. Like I got 22 months. Sober, I'm like, I can't have a drink. But man, do I want one. Man, do I really want one. So luckily I paid, my tab and got out of there. Before I decided to act upon the impulse. Then I found out that one of my roommates has the flu. So, when I was home, I got to thinking about, well, I know there's a tradition of Shiva, You hear people talking about sitting Shiva. I'm like, what does that actually entail? And I know it's a lot of man's tradition and, man's viewpoints on it, but I'm like, I'm curious. What does that entail? So I Googled it, and I found out, a little bit, and I'm like, okay. Basically, for the 7 days, one is supposed to be, I don't quite say alone with their thoughts, but they're supposed to have the thoughts. Like there are, I guess, traditions where, like, you don't bathe unless you, need to. You don't put on new clothes or freshly washed clothes. You don't listen to music. You don't pray or read the Torah. And I'm like, okay, I cannot do a lot of those things. Like I cannot not listen to music. And if you know me, you know that to be true. But like I said, my roommate was recovering from the flu. And I'm like, I can be alone with my thoughts, quite a bit this week. I can think about stuff and maybe deal with some of these issues that I'm having. And I do think it's normal to have these feelings, even if somebody died 5 years ago, 10 years ago. I do think there's going to be times where, something stirs those memories up. I think Frodo Baggins, said it best. Some wounds never fully heal. And I think the death of somebody is one of those wounds. And I said it's okay to feel that way, from time to time. Which, I stand by that statement, but hear me out. Okay? Because there are times where the pain should always be a 10. After something like this happens, the pain should be a 10. It should be fresh. It should be, right here in our heads. But as time goes by, should go down. Maybe 6 months from now it should be like a 7 or a 5. Maybe a year from now it should be a 3 or 5. Maybe 2 years from now it's like down to a 1. And I think it's okay for it to be at that 1 or 2, for as long as it takes. For the rest of your life, it's okay to miss that person. It is okay to remember them. It is okay to occasionally shed a tear for them. What I don't think is okay, and this is just my opinion, is if it's 5 years later and you're still constantly up here at that 10. And yeah, I'll admit, there's been times things have got stirred up. Something's been brought up or reminded me, and the pain's jumped up to a 3 or 4. So I get that. I get there are things that will make you remember them. And that will bring them to your memory. And that's okay. It's okay to have those feelings. It's okay to remember them. But it's not okay just to sit there and, just dwell on it for an extended period of time. So I'm probably going to have to put this on pause for one moment, because I forgot to do something. So I will be right back, and I will be right back. So I'm back, and I wanted to address one other thing before I get into something else. And you combine this week with the Bimbas family of hostages that were murdered, and I know there is a tradition of, as a sign of mourning, one shaves their head. So because of everything that's going on, or has been going on this past week, I'm probably going to leave here when I'm done and go shave my head. So I usually don't share this side with a whole lot of people, but I figured that I would today. I ended up putting my thoughts on paper. Okay, so they were in a text, and I had to go print that off. But I'm going to try to read this and, share this with you guys. Grief is a funny, funny thing. When an older man passes away, we somehow lessen the sting. Try to tell ourselves that it's okay, that his life was so full, and now there's no more sorrow. We want to believe that bull. We want a hope to borrow. Death is a funny, funny thing. As it comes to us on the way, from 79 years to less than a day. The latter is a greater tragedy, because they never got to live to be. So I shed my tears and shake my fist to a God I know that He exists. A shout and a cry. One word, why? When an innocence dies. Grief is a funny, funny thing. It pairs up with addiction's past, like a song I long to sing, as long as grief will last. The drink comes charging at me like a rabid infected devil, struggling to take my knee to not enter this personal hell. So I rustle and whisper no. Told Hasatan not today. I don't know why they had to go, but from this, I can walk away. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. Sorry this is kind of long and depressing, but, it's real. And I'm going to try to be real with you guys. And what I'm thinking and how I'm feeling. But hopefully I'll see you all next week. Peace.